And now we're in such a jolly mood. Welcome in everyone to VNN Valorant News Network. I am one of the three hosts. My name is Nerdscast, and I am here with 1 and 2, which are they're going to introduce themselves to you. So take it away. 1?
I guess I'm 1.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
This is a bunch. It's a bunch of tier 2, tier 3 casters, all talking very quickly, as fast as possible about some of the things that happened over the last week. Again, my name is Ancient Angel. I cast around, do GC, do tier 3, do a little bit of collegiate.
From 1 to 2, we got
2. Yeah, and I'm Zero Fights. To be honest, I do a lot of the same. I'm a caster for tier 3 GC tournaments. Dabbled a little bit in collegiates for my own college, University of Missouri. I was the VP of the club there, and played a little bit, but heart's like ascendant, so unlucky. Just gotta go next and move on to my casting life. I also coached in GC for a short stint for Kaiju Corp, a brand in Chicago. Shout out Tengu, but yeah, that's about it.
Well, I might have missed the memo because I didn't introduce myself too much, but I am Nerdscast, a tier 2 caster, and dabble in tier 3 as well as the Game Changer scene. From grassroots esports to tier 2. Let's go. VCT interviewer? Let's throw that in there as well.
The way that this show works for everyone watching at home is we each have brought in a topic, a highlight of the last week to talk about. So my topic that I specifically want to mention to go first, to kick things off, the first ever topic of the Swift Play is the Project Alliance Moonlight Sakura showdown that happened just last week. It finished up. It was a Game Changers tournament that happened in North America, which is kind of crazy considering that when you're talking about the GC scene in NA, which in all fairness to NA, we do have one of the more robust GC scenes. Not really much happens outside of the official circuit and 10x. So the fact that we had another tournament organizer to come through and make a full tournament, which Project Alliance has done before, but this one was, I think, at the very least kind of special because there was a lot poured into it, both from Project Alliance staff and production, and even players seem to care about this a lot more. I don't know if it's just because of the new GC circuit, but it was a very cool tournament, 16 teams. It was Berserkers Dawn and a pug roster called Poggers in the grand finals. It was Poggers to actually win that tournament, which that was Battison. Oh god. I'm fake. I'm a fake fan.
You're getting your knowledge tested right now.
It was Battison on that team.
It's hard to keep up.
I literally
I'm just going to VLR.
I'm going to VLR
it's not
right
on
now.
VLR. You're gonna.
I know it is not.
I think Liquipedia.
I will, as I find the roster, Zero, because you and I actually casted this tournament.
Yeah.
So I want to know what your thoughts on it were, because obviously I've kind of said mine.
Honestly, it was really cool, like you said. I think, like, we get the 10x series, which is good for a very consistent league, especially for some of those like up and coming GC rosters, and then you obviously have the main brackets for NA. But having like a standalone tournament that's just a weekend and it has a lot of those good GC squads is really cool to see. Just because honestly, there was a lot of great competition. I mean, Berserkers Dawn, low key, they kind of got rolled in the finals. It was like they won split, I think 13-1, and then got 13-0'd on Pearl. So it was a bit rough to in it out, but it's really good showings from teams like that, especially for teams to maybe look forward to break the top 8 in the upcoming GC tournament. So I'm just excited. I hope they put another one on in the future, to be honest, because I think this was their first full GC only tournament, if I recall correctly.
It's either one or two. They might have only done one in the past. So, yeah, the fact that we saw this was really cool. And like I said, I did my research. I have it. Battison was on Poggers, as well as Exit Lag Abuser, Razora, Sedated, and Aria.
Razora! Thankfully, there's something for me to yap about. I just know Razora from NSG lands and meeting them in person. Another West Coast gamer. I have no other context for this tournament, but I did participate way back in the day in some of the Game Changers tournaments that Alliance puts up. So huge shout out to them because pretty solid TOs in a host way. Big shout to them. So For anyone looking to enter
Josue-
into the game, did I say that wrong?
No. I was gonna say you said it right. I was gonna say Josue wasn't even like an admin for this tournament, which was kind of funny. He wasn't.
See,
He was.
again, I
Yeah.
haven't been here,
No
haven't been here, haven't
No,
done it.
that was all.
Unfortunately, I was pre. It was Chrissy.
No, it was actually all Sleepy. Sleepy boy. Shout outs.
I'm like,
Shout
it's
out
like I'm
Sleepy.
firing shots and it's a right click and I've whiffed all.
Yeah.
I've just outlined fully.
This is
But
this is what
huge
happens when
shout
you're.
to Sleepy.
It's
I
Never
mean,
mind.
I just
It's
want to
quick
say,
scribble.
we could talk a lot about the alliance stuff, but something that I want to talk about that's newer drama rather than older drama is, since I see the reason I don't know as much about the alliance stuff is because I'm preoccupied a little bit, unfortunately, with where's the Home Depot box. You guys can see it back there. But I also do VCT interviews, and I also do challengers. So talking about some challengers drama that actually kind of happened recently was the Liga ACE stuff. So the tournament organizers, Liga ACE, I've worked with them. They're really nice. So I don't really want to talk like too negatively about them because they do try to be fair, especially the tournament staff. I know Rio, I believe, is the name of the head TO there. Genuinely, like, they do try to keep things relatively fair, and I'm not really sure exactly what happened on the back end, but the big drama around it has been the forfeit. Like, I think they forced a forfeit out of Core Gaming. And the thing about it though is that they forced they forced it during the playoffs, which is kind of the problem. If it was in like a group stage match or a little bit earlier in the tournament, there's a lot of time for Core to kind of recover. But it kind of happened really in a rough spot in the bracket. It happened in the lower round one of the playoffs, which, if you know how playoffs work, lowers means you're eliminated. So basically, this eliminated Core because they couldn't play on the first map. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the first map of Haven was actually picked by Core. And understanding TSM and Core's dynamic, I think honestly, Core could have done a pretty good job. To be fair, I'm friends with some of the people on Core. You know, shout out to Frosto, shout out to Astrovok, shout out to Nadine, Angie, Snarly. All those gamers are awesome. I think TSM still would have managed to get out ahead, which is a bit unfortunate because just stats wise, I feel like that's kind of accurate. But you have to give a fair shot to Core because you don't know. Core could have practiced on Haven. They could have had a fairy tale run. TSM, might have had some inconsistencies. There's a lot that kind of plays into it, which led to this whole fun drama even starting. But I tend to stay away from drama, so I don't know anything about the Twitter drama. No,
So, nothing at all.
From my
nothing at all.
understanding, and if anyone can tell me that I'm wrong, please do. From my understanding of everything, it was that one of the players on Core had like a power outage issue or had like
PC blew up.
Yeah,
I think Darkest had
Darkest
his
PC.
just
yeah, and so Ace decided that they had, I think it was like 45 minutes to get Darkest specifically online, or they had to forfeit the map, which is kind of crazy. Because I can understand because obviously we've all dealt with tournament operations before, even though we aren't all tournament admins by trade. Like, we've all dealt with it before, and we've all seen it behind the scenes. And so, like, you obviously all know, like, we obviously all know, like, if you don't start a match within some tournaments it's 30 minutes, some tournaments it's an hour. Like, if you can't field your roster in time, you have to forfeit. But it was crazy that they wouldn't even allow the coach of Core to sub in.
Yeah, so that's where the discrepancy really starts coming through because at one point they were trying to fix Core was trying to play with Darkest because obviously you want to play with your player. Then something about the coach was brought up. The discrepancy starts when, and the reason there is a lot of drama about it is with the tournament admins basically saying like, you can't. I don't think they would allow the coach. I think at one point they said that there are claims that Liga Ace did say you could use the coach, and then it was retracted. Right, so it's getting blurry there.
yeah,
And
it would make sense.
obviously, I mean, I'm a caster for them, so it's a bit above my pay grade. I'm obviously I know a bit more, but the bit more is just the fact that in the casting chats, people were kind of like, they were a little frustrated. We as casters, fun fact, really like to commentate. They were just like kind of sad that they didn't get to see the matchup. What a shocker, right? That's literally all I'm saying on the Discord chat.
Yeah, I do actually think, like, my genuine opinion is that granted, I'm also friends with some of the Core guys. Shout out to Logan, But like, I do genuinely think if they played Haven, they like Core was the favorites on that map.
Yeah, and
Just
I think as well. I mean, it was at what they lost 10-13 on the
Bind.
second map of
Yeah.
Binds, which and going over to Split, like I wouldn't favor them there. I think if Core would to have like won it, it would have been 2-0. But I mean, Bind could have been a very different game, especially if you're not like dealing with all the frustrations and like the mental side of having to FF your first map. And honestly, in like they what it was 45 minutes that they couldn't field a player. So within that time frame, especially with a streamed match, like you're wanting to move it forward. So I do understand it. I'm not exactly sure what happened with like not being able to field a coach because in the past, like I mean, it would make total sense for you to be able to. I mean, it happens in VCT. It surely should be able to happen in challengers, especially if the coach has been like signed to the team. So not exactly sure what happened there, but I mean, Core have definitely had a bit of a bounce back. We got to see them in the, I believe they've been playing in some of the Fun Haver stuff. So not like out of the scene yet, and definitely have I mean, plenty of a time to bounce back in the year. So
Well, speaking of fun havers, Zero,
yes,
did you
speaking
want
of,
to did you want to segue that into your topic, your highlight
yeah,
of the last week?
yeah, and so if you didn't catch it, last weekend's on I believe it was the 16th was the grand finals of the Las Vegas HyperX Momentum X Mr. Funhaver tournament. So the culmination of really what had been I mean a lot of qualifiers stealing or not stealing, but I think Tim even used the phrasing just take the old Nerd Street stuff and put it into this type of format where it's a bunch of qualifiers week to week, and whoever wins those and performs well in those gets a chance to go to a LAN tournament. And to be honest, we don't really have a lot of LANs in this tier 3 scene. So getting one this big was a really cool opportunity to get to watch. I didn't get to catch most of it because I was working on the Project Alliance stream, helping with that. But it was the Burger Boys taking it over Blue Otter 2-0. Both teams who are in tier 2 Valorant, so are pretty respectable in their own right, and just coming out here and Burger Boy's getting a cool little $5,000 for the weekend. And honestly, I'm excited to see how they kind of bounce back as well, because I feel like this meta might favor them with the Breach Tejo stuff, like ramping up to levels where we haven't even seen before. And it's just gonna get worse, man. I feel with the sit and icebox coming in.
I will say
Yeah.
for Burger Boys, sorry to interject their Ancient of Angels, but I will say for Burger Boys, it's honestly really nice to hear because the last time they went to LAN, I'm pretty sure they had a rough time of it at ROK. I think it was it? I know the last time I saw them at LAN. Sorry to clarify. I remember they had a rough time of it, so it's nice to see Matt specifically, who was the IGL kind of the leader of Burger Boys, getting a victory under their belt. But I'm pretty sure. Do you remember what happened
He
to
popped
Rock?
off too.
Yeah, what
Are you
was the
talking about
previous
at
Rock?
back? So
Yeah,
okay,
and then
so
wasn't there another one?
the rock that happened this year, which was for
Yeah,
South Beach series and at Brickell, that wasn't Burger Boys. That was just a pug roster. Um,
but
it was a pug
Matt.
roster that just happened to include Matt and Alvin.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Matt and Alvin picked up that win though, right?
No, they didn't win
They
at that rock.
lost. Did they
They
lose in
All
the
right, so they lost
semis?
both.
I think.
they lost in top 8, I
But that's
think.
my point: is that it's nice to
I
see them pick
casted
up
the
a
side.
LAN. No, but my point is
Yeah,
that it's nice to see them pick up a LAN,
I
considering
will.
that they
Yeah.
lost 2
Mhm.
previous LANs. So really hyped for them.
And
Yeah,
it builds good experience too.
the thing that I do want to say is to piggyback off of Zero saying that there's not a lot of lands. Like right now in within tier 3 NA, because and actually even tier 2, because
Yeah.
we talk about some of the teams that were here, right? Core was here, Blue Otter was here, Burger Boys was here, Funhaver's team was here. Like there were a lot of teams and a lot of players from this that have either played at a tier 2 level or are at a tier 2 level. And or literally were in challengers, or players that are ex challengers. Like you had like the Landor team, which was like Neptune, Shot Up, Jonah, Moose. Like those are all like tier 1, tier 2 players. So the fact that we have a tournament and a tournament series now that actually allows these players to get LAN experience. We can talk about crowds. Like, that's all things that are real and are going to be happening in the future. At least I hope they happen again, is huge. So I want to say shout outs to Funhaver for being able to put all of this on, because that is like super sick. And I also want to mention the fact, and I do want to give Liga ACE a little bit of credit here as well, because I remember in the past, and I don't know if this is a Liga ACE ruling or a Funhaver ruling, so I could be giving credit to the wrong people, but in the past, for years, it was like this unspoken rule / actual official rule in Tier 3 that if you played in Challengers, you weren't
Oh,
allowed, like, as a team, if you were a team in Challengers,
do
you
not get
weren't
me started on
allowed
this
to
stupid
be
ass rule,
any
bro.
Tier 3 tournaments. And it was like the
It-
most asinine ruling ever. So the
I
fact
think
that
it was
we have
Knights, wasn't it?
it was Knights,
It
yeah.
was
Yeah, it was
Knights.
so stupid.
Knights
Man.
and NSG both had this rule. And it was like the most ludicrous rule ever. And so the fact that we no longer have that, and you can see a true tier 3 tournament where you have Burger Boys and Blue Water, these two tier 2 teams playing at LAN, and you have this upset where Landor beats like Funhaver, which I don't think it was like an upset actually, but like on paper you think of it as one, because Funhaver was like an actual official practice team and Landor is like more of a pug type of squad. The fact that you had
Pugs, rankers. Or
the fact that
envy,
you had
sorry.
yeah, the fact that you had YDZ upset core as well, in my mind that was an upset.
Yeah.
Like that is like super sick, because again, this YDZ Berserkers team didn't make challengers and they just beat a challengers team. Like, in my mind, that's super cool. And so the fact that we can have this parity throughout the year, and these are going to be things we talk about, not only in the Funhaver circuit, not only in challengers, but when it comes to things like South Beach series and any online Funhavers that happen, like those are all going to be super huge. The YFP,
The lockdown,
Arena
yeah, it's coming up,
lockdown.
isn't it?
that's
Well, if we're
happening,
talking
right?
into, I was gonna say, if we're gonna be going into modern news, I actually do have some other modern news. But for the YFP lockdown, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's like 22 out of 30 people, and today being the 30th, the the 20th of March, the third month. I saw the 3 there.
Yeah.
It's happening this weekend alongside with the beginning of VCT America's Split 1 first week. So I'm pretty sure that I don't know how many people are going to sign up, but I think it's 20 out of 32 teams that they need. I'm checking Nima's Twitter, which is
I think there was.
they're the person that
I saw
runs
there was an
YFP.
update. Yeah,
24 teams that
24
I
teams.
just
So we're
got.
getting there. We're
24.
getting there.
So
Okay.
they're at 24 teams and 23 have currently signed up. So in the event that you're somehow watching this as we're recording it, sign up right now and you can be the last team in the YFP tournament this weekend.
Get your
But like,
friends, guys.
yeah, exactly.
Oh
We should
Lord.
actually do a 5-stack, and
Yes,
we'll
yes.
do
Get
like
Chris
us
in here.
four,
We're chilling.
get Chris, yeah, and Bloomy, and then
Easy
we'll run it.
wins.
Yep.
Honestly, that would
Like,
be so insane. That would be so wacky.
Yeah.
we'd get first round. I can't lie to you.
We'd
I
get
think we're
grouped.
gonna
I am
lose.
We'd get
washed. I
grouped
am
so
washed.
easily. So in general, I do want to say that I think that despite all of like the doom and gloom that you'll hear people talk about within tier 3, like and how everything sucks, I actually have been really happy with how the, I guess, current state of tier 3 is. I think that it's building, right? It's not sustainable. It's not like everyone's going to be able to quit their jobs to be a tier 3 Valorant player. But I think that we are on a path, whether it's like the best path in the world or the most efficient, I don't know, but at least there is a path forward. And so I want to give credit to all of the TOs, all of the production talent, to everyone who's been doing their thing within GC, within tier 3, within collegiate. Shout outs.
Yeah. Shout out those propping up the scene, being the pillars. Because, yeah, like you said, I mean, without like those big TOs, especially hosting lands, I think it is one of the weirdest things. Like, we don't really have land culture in Valorant compared to stuff like CS, where it's super, super common. So hopefully we get some GC lands soon. I would be down for some more of those because I feel like we
Some
haven't had one in
counter,
what 2
counter
years?
strikers.
Yeah, L
Heckin'
Counter Strikers. Don't come for
Counter-Strikers.
me. Don't come for me. Actually,
I will
please.
say I think I know there were a couple GC players at
Yeah, it was. I think
because you had
Bob
Nora on
and Katsumi
Prosperity.
were. I don't know about Fun Havers. I just know about the Rocker one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at Rock, at Run It Back last year, there were some from like the FlyQuest girls and Katsumi, and then this year, I can't remember specifically if anyone at Brickle was I don't think so. But I will say at the Funhaver, you had Nora, who is a GC player. You had Bob, obviously plays in GC. There's probably some other names that I'm like missing, and then I'm gonna get yelled at in the comments for like,
Comment section.
how did you not
Get
say
'em.
my favorite
Call
player?
them out,
Get them.
Yeah.
Get them.
please.
I'm currently like scrolling through the list of teams and players.
I say that, but I don't think I can name a single player.
Yeah, but
GG.
to be honest, like Bob getting second, like, is really cool to see because I mean, she's been a staple in both the GC and just like in A scene for a long time now. I mean, all the way back in like the days of, like Soar and stuff. So,
Oh Lord.
or not Soar, Sonics, excuse me. But yeah, so cool to
That's
see
still
players
that's
like that
still
are still
old.
around.
I think I still have
Kinda
Sonic's esports merch. I have a Sonic's jersey.
Shout
I
out the
have
one T-Dog tweets.
I have a lot of really old esports merch, but in current news, we're not talking about old stuff, we're talking about new stuff. In current news, we currently have the grand finals of North American Challengers. It's Shopify Rebellion Black versus M80. The score as of this second at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time on March 20th is currently 7-6. So we still don't know who wins. It's 1-1.
Yeah.
My money is on SRB,
Yep.
just because I've been seeing it. Sato's really good, but Sato's currently 3-12, so very
We're
close to
buying.
having.
Yes.
I was about to say very close to a pecan if they really wanted it, or maybe an apple, depending on what flavor of the month you kind of go for. But regardless, that's
yeah.
where my money's at. Let's do a round of little predictions, I guess, since that's a very common thing to do.
I don't believe in this M80 team. So
All right, 0.
Dude, I'm kind of the same way.
Wow, no,
I'm looking
the
at these
entire
comps. I don't
chat.
listen. They've made the lower bracket run so far. They have some good names on them. I'm a big fan of like B Dog, but
Okay, but what's
dude,
the hard and
comps,
fast
they're
prediction?
cooking. Shopify, they're taking it in 3-1.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Fair enough. That was the prediction I had.
I think it goes to Pearl, but I just think I believe in Shopify's Pearl over M80's Pearl.
That's also really both are really solid predictions. I just think Shopify Rebellion's gonna grab it. It's gonna be tough for them, but they're gonna grab it. But yeah, that's the current news that's happening literally right now. With that, I mean, we'll see kind of how the YFP lockdown goes. We'll talk about that a bit more. We're probably also going to talk a little bit about, what happens in the grand finals in the next one. So stay tuned. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow for more content here for the VNN, the Valorant News Network.
Or the Swift Play, depending on.
Yeah. You want to do the outro for the Swift Play though?
No, I think we
Mr.
keep this. I think we keep this in its whole.
With what we're saying.
Yeah. So if you stayed all the way into the end, you get the bonus trivia fact of knowing that. Either
don't even know.
Either the Swift Play was going to be called VNN or VNN was going to be called the Swift Play. So we'll figure it out. Like Nerd said, thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate you sticking around. And yeah, we'll see you next week. We're going to talk about YFP. We're going to talk about challenges. We're going to talk about probably VCT Americas for like 3 seconds, but we don't want to focus on it because Platchat's going to do it. So bye guys. Have a good one.